Top story, DMT, aka Donald Mindfuck Trump, is eyeing Florida Governor Ron DeSantis as a possible 2024 vice president and 2028 feral mob murder target. Take a listen.
If you were to run for the presidency in 2024, would you consider Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, as your running mate?
Sure, I would. But, you know, there are numerous people that are great. I would certainly consider Ron.
Why stop at Ron? Donald Trump deserves no less than a full harem of vice presidents that he can place a hit on at any time. Trump also announced a listening tour to give everyday Americans a chance to listen to him talk. Donald Trump will go on a speaking tour with Bill O'Reilly to talk up his presidency. And that's why I'm proud to announce that I am going on tour with Roman Polanski to talk up the Trump-O'Reilly tour. Joining us now is Democratic Congresswoman Judy Chu of California. How goes it, Congresswoman?
It goes very well.
That's fantastic. Now, Congresswoman, obviously America does not have stadiums big enough for a Trump-O'Reilly rally. When will your state drain the water from Lake Tahoe and replace it with bleachers?
Oh my goodness, I can't even contemplate that. But let's hope that he doesn't take this rally to our state, because our state certainly deserves better.
Skeptics argue that Trump is using this speculation as a way of raising money, but isn't raising money humankind's only goal?
Now, I'd like to offer my services as a warm-up act for the Trump-O'Reilly tour. I can balance an egg on a spoon and make balloon animals for the kids to violently dismember.
Moving on to the investigation into who America should blame for the pandemic we biffed hardcore, all our glassy eyes are on Anthony, not my doctor, Fauci, who received an email suggesting the possibility that we might want to see if the virus originated in a lab. In other words, we're under attack. Here is the liberal elite rushing to his defense.
The email that's being focused on is a so-called smoking gun, if you will. It was an email Tony received from some really good scientists suggesting that they felt this could have been an engineered pathogen early on. As time evolved and as more virologists looked more carefully at this, the judgment of the scientific community is there's actually nothing that remarkable about this virus. All of the genetic diversity that's seen in the virus could have been derived from nature.
So-called smoking gun? Every email is a smoking gun. Secret electronic messages are all evil. You can tell by how scary I just made it sound. Now, Congresswoman, there has been a disturbing increase in racist violence against our friends in the Asian community. Please explain why this has nothing to do with the right stoking violence against our friends in the Asian community.
Well, we have been dealing with hate crimes and hate incidents for a year and a half now. And it was stoked by President Trump's usage of the terms China virus, Wuhan virus, and Kung flu. But what we need is the truth. What we need are the steps that President Biden took to condemn anti-Asian hate crimes, and then also to produce solutions that would help the AAPI community work with the Department of Justice in stopping these hate crimes.
Well. It looks like the right was just more intellectually curious than old Fauci about how we could use the pandemic to inflame racial animus more.
Think we got him. Now, moving on, our modern-day Jesus, Donald J. Jesus Christ Trump, was crucified for wearing pants, something even Jesus himself wasn't brave enough to try. Now, if, like me, you stare at Trump's crotch area during his speeches, you notice that his pants fit perfectly, but somehow the media jackals thought he was wearing his pants backwards or had on a diaper. Joining us now to prove that Trump wore his pants more normal than any president in history is Hot Takes chief political pants expert from Reeves Modern English Tailoring, David Reeves. Thanks for being here, David.
Thank you, Tyler.
Now, please explain that Trump's pants fit perfectly, and if they don't, why it's Nancy Pelosi's fault.
Well, Tyler, I think that they're a bit too tight at the front. I think that they've been altered in such a way that they're kind of forced back against the crotch in a bit like, you know, you've got a trouser which is shaped like that, and they've just been taken through the back, tightened up in the back, which has pulled the whole thing towards the back, which has made it flat on the front.
Now, regarding this diaper theory, I'd argue that a man as efficient as Trump does not produce waste. But David, how are you preparing for the imminent surge of people requesting pants that, like Trump's, look like they've been stretched around a yoga ball in some places and tied into 1,000 knots in others?
I mean, there's an issue with the literal balance of that trouser, but you look to the side, you should have a trouser just straight like that on the waistband. I think he's being pushed forward, and then he's complaining about like too much room in the front, and then some poor tailor has just kind of pulled them towards the back and tightened it up too much. I think that's the conclusion here.
It's all very interesting. David, can you stick around in case any other political pants topics come up?
Oh, absolutely. My pleasure.
Appreciate that. Moving on, in a gross abuse of their power to investigate a mob that tried to zip tie their windpipes shut, 2 Senate committees released a report outlining large-scale security failures on January 6th. According to the New York Times, which I was only reading because my daughter's graduation gift of a fresh moray eel arrived wrapped inside it, top federal intelligence agencies failed to adequately warn law enforcement officials before the January 6th riot that pro-Trump extremists were threatening violence, including plans to storm the Capitol, infiltrate its tunnel system, and bring guns. Wow. This never would have happened if Trump were president. Now, Congresswoman, you were there that day. Why don't you follow Mike Pence's example and move on from resentment that his spinal cord was almost upcycled to a jump rope?
Well, I cannot forget what happened. Yes, I was there, fearful to open the door because I didn't know if I would be attacked or murdered. And just seeing this report led me to think, how much more warning did we need to have action to stop this January 6th attack? There were posts on social media as early as December with maps.
Look, this is on the members of Congress. From the moment you leave the NICU, you should be ready to be attacked at any time.
Let me just say that talking about breaking through plate glass windows with cargo pant pockets spilling with shotgun shells and gallows rope does not show intent.
David, Morgan said cargo pants. Thoughts?
Negative.
Okay, I'd like to pivot to something not always fun to talk about, a story bigger than you or I that will forever change the history of our nation. I'm talking, of course, about the fight between Floyd Mayweather and guaranteed Airbnb damage deposit forfeiter Logan Paul. That bout restored my faith that America's most storied institutions will all one day become absolute freak shows starring our least celebrated sticks. Logan Paul is a pro boxer. Jeff Bezos is an astronaut. Marjorie Taylor Greene's in Congress. This is the weird-ass promise of America. Congresswoman, take a moment to dry your tears. Isn't it a sign that the American experiment is thriving when its government provides refuge to Representatives Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz?
Well, I certainly have to wonder when I hear what Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz say. But on the other hand, you know, I live in Southern California.
Surf's up.
And would I say that culture is in decline in America when I see the thriving cultural diversity that we have here? When I look at the totality of what we have in America and the wonderful people that are coming out to support one another to overcome this pandemic, I say that our culture is alive and well.
Agreed. And call me a naive idealist, but I think that 2021 might be the year we finally see a Komodo dragon on the Supreme Court.